Was there ever a time you felt like you couldn't talk about what you were going through and why?
The reason why I couldn't talk to people was because not only was I in denial, but when I got stronger, it was like they pick at you and it's the thing about you gotta be stronger. You gotta be strong in ordinary for you to really overcome what other people were saying about your mental health. Period.
Yeah, once you
So
start talking about mental
yeah,
health, they'll be like, they just shut you down.
yeah.
They
Especially
just shut you down
when
and be
they
like,
figure
just
out
be a man.
yeah, especially when they figure out you got diagnosed with something. It's like they find a way to really punch you in the stomach. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's what isolates you so much. That's why you have to be like isolated and figure out how to be strong on your own in order for you to blossom all over again. So
I've found a way to express myself through certain health companies that we know today.
right, like you just gotta be mature about yourself now. You ain't got
Yes.
no yeah. When you diagnosed, you ain't got no choice but to be mature and more healthy and find your own way. Yeah.
Yes. Talking about mental health and receiving mental health benefits is two different things. I can talk about my mental health all day, but it's really about what you can get out of talking about it. Like, what are you talking about it for? How are you going to use what you're talking about it for to actually benefit you?
Yeah.
So that's what I've done through Amera Wellness, through the relatives.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to people about my mental health in order to make my mental health better.
Right.
That's my end goal whenever I talk about mental health. But other than that, there's not much really helped with talking about mental health through like day to day, because everybody just will shut you down.
Yeah.
And
well, we here now. We at the library today, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We here today to talk about.
And then what? We're gonna be at Urban Ministry tomorrow, and we're gonna be here Wednesday, and then we'll be back at Urban Ministry tomorrow. Thursday.
Yeah. So we got a good opportunities to talk about mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You ready for the next question?
Yes, ready for the next
Go ahead,
question.
bro.
Alrighty. Looking back, what do you wish you had known about mental health when you were younger?
I wish that I would have knew what I was saying. I wish that I knew that I was saying back then instead of just coming out and saying it. Because there's a difference between knowing what you know, but it's other people that put you to the test and you feel like you don't know what you're talking about no more. You ain't gonna feel like you know what you're talking about. So just know what you know and not really look at it as a challenge, especially with certain people. Certain people can do it, some people can't. But I wouldn't challenge, with nobody saying never, because anything is possible. So you just gotta be mentally strong in that type of stuff.
What I wish I knew about mental health when I was younger is how to actually get the help from my therapists that I needed. I wish that I would listen to them, because I would not be able to just shut up and listen. I would always think, okay, I'm just going to sit here in this office and not do anything for the next hour and just go home and play with my toys.
Right.
Whenever I was younger, it would either be that or it would be substance use when I got to age 13 to 16. But one thing I wish I knew how to do with mental health when I was younger was to actually receive information about it. Yeah, receiving information about it.
Right. And another one that I wish I knew was like how to really ask for help. Like people nowadays, and like me back then, I really didn't want the help when I needed it. Even to now, like yo, I could probably apply for a loan and get it today, but something tells me like yo, I really don't need to go up there because it's like I really don't. I'm afraid they'll say no, or I know they're gonna say no. But it's like certain things that I just wait on because I'm just going through my own mental thing right now. But it's the thing about stepping out for help and asking for help. People don't do that, but I'm not afraid to do it. I just haven't did it because um, I'm a pretty strong person at doing what I do. But if I feel a need that I should be going up there and asking for this type of money or this type of help to take care of my kids or whatever, I would do it. But right now, I don't think it's necessary. I think I'm doing pretty well.
All right. Let's move on to some questions that refer to the present. What role does your community or social support play in your mental health today?
Um, the community. I think I'm supported by certain people out there, but it's hard because you got to get to know people. You got to get to know them, and they got this X amount of people in their life, and you just got to kind of step back and uh, really like help out with them. Like I'm the type of person that'll help out with my community and get to know people like that instead of just getting to know them. Like as soon as I get there, because I'm a helpful guy. And I got a little older, and I just help them out to get to know them. But the community, I'm really in touch with certain people online and stuff like that. So I'm getting to know social media first, and outside of social media, I volunteer stuff like that. I meet with cool people like y'all and go to different meetings, stuff like that. And, you know, I'm involved. It just takes some time to get that much support from the community and other people.
My support in the mental health community comes from somewhat of the opposite when it comes to social media, because I don't even have a phone right now. Um, what I do is I have a support group in my circle, which includes people at this table, and includes people with certain companies that, like I said, have helped me with my mental health these days, especially my peer support specialist. Um, he's always there for me, and yeah, that's who I have to support me when it comes to today.
All right, let's see. How do you stay resilient in times of mental health setbacks or challenges?
Uh, um, you got to be willing to go through it. But me, I just keep myself humble, and you got to know the right people to talk to. You got to know.
Yeah.
You got to know what you're doing in life. You got to know what you're doing next. Like get a job. You know what I'm saying? I had plenty of jobs. It's just that I took risks to really move move with employment. You know, and I got the ability to maintain and not give up on myself. And it's not easy because you walk around with $0 and 0 cents. But it's the thing about spending your own time for your own money, being on your own clock. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I got the ability to do. And I feel like, yeah, you just got to be strong about it. What was the question that you had just?
Uh, what's a typical good day for you mentally, and how does it differ from a bad day? I
Oh,
think.
nah, the question that we
No.
on now.
Yeah, I thought.
Had to do with how do you deal with?
Oh, how do you stay resilient in times of
Okay,
mental
yeah,
health
yeah.
setbacks or challenges?
Yeah, just you gotta know what you're doing first, and it took me a lot of experience to really be grounded in my situation. Like going back to what I was saying, it was like going through it, and you gotta know how to adapt to your environment. I've been through a lot of trauma situations, so it I'm grateful to be humbled in stuff like that, in an environment like this. So that's mine.
Um, my way to stay resilient through setbacks and challenges is to really surround myself with positive support teams. Um, Surround myself with positive energy every day because energy flows. And the way I see it in a spiritual sense is that if I want to have a good spirit in my soul and have good mental health, then I have to have my surroundings to be good, to be in good shape as well. And that includes my social upbringing. I'm always looking and craving to have good, positive people around me. Um, Somewhat like a sense of family. Um, since I don't have any family, I try to find family in every other day people, whether that may be just talking to someone new or just hanging out with friends. It brings a sense of comfort. So that's how I be resilient, and also come to groups. Groups are a sense of family to me too.
Yep. Like groups, like environments like this, and I'm not talking about the shelter. I'm talking about groups up in urban ministry. Those type of groups and these type of groups, it's like the environment you should dwell in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we can't do that at the shelter because, for one, it's like a bunch of commotion going on. And, well, we do it when the pastors come, but other than that, you gotta graduate yourself from a low vibration environment. So
Yeah, there's a lot of low vibration in there.
All right, moving on to questions about the future. Are there any specific goals or milestones you've set for yourself in terms of emotional or mental well-being?
goals or milestones. My goal is I was just talking to Shout later about this. Being that I dealt with trauma, I've found something within me which is my ancestral history, my family history, and I've been digging a lot into Native American tribal lands and tribal nations, and it's very different. It's a very different trauma that we come from. You know what I'm saying? And nobody really talks about it. So I've been digging into that, and I have to find the energy, the native energy that's within me to really overcome my past. That's my mission is. What my mission is, because the native drum and the African drum is basically two roots stuck together. So if I adapt to the native drum and find the passion within that energy, I can really overcome and overcome and accomplish my goal way stronger and way different. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a good goal. That's my goal and my milestone for the next year or so. I want to find that energy within the culture.
My goal is financial stability and stability in friendships. I want to be able to financially support myself on my own and also be able to have a good social life, because those two things make or break my mental health. Um, it's been really hard not having people to communicate with until recently, really. Um, and just keeping up with that and maintaining it is a goal as well. Now I do have some social life in myself with some people in this room and some people outside of this room, but those numbers vary. Don't have any social media life anymore. That's kind of a blessing too, with not having a phone. But yeah, my thing would be having a social life and financially supporting myself and having a roof over my head. That's what would. That's my goal.
Cool. So while we on camera, could you explain to everybody like the goal of your financial situations? Like how can you break that down? Well, I know you said it. Did he said that earlier, but it was off camera.
Oh yes. So my goal right now is to get into a kitchen that is in Charlotte, in the area, or start out as an apprenticeship in a music studio. Um, with those goals being in mind, my dream goal is to be a songwriter. If I were to get an apprenticeship at a music studio, I could find someone who would want to hire me as a songwriter, and that would be amazing. Um, but those are my two things that I'm looking at right now. I also still have to get my ID and my social security card, but everything's moving so far. It's all about patience right now.
One day at a time.
I'm taking it one day at a time and making sure I have a good day every day, because those things aren't going to bring me happiness. Those things are just going to be those things. What brings me happiness is myself. It's self-generated. I have to do things within myself in order to be happy. So, yeah. Materials, those types of things, they're not going to make you happy mentally. What it is for me is I use those certain things, such as a house and such as a car and such as having people in my life, to all structure it around bringing in my core happiness. But my core happiness doesn't revolve around it. It revolves around my core happiness.
There you go.
And that's how that works.
When you say core happiness, it's the start of the bottom. You know, because we at the bottom right now. We can't get no lower.
No.
If our mental health go down, that's lower. But we keep ourselves up, uprooted, and we keep ourselves up without materialistic things. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like. You just say the core happiness.
Core
It's
happiness.
the core happiness of what we trying to go, where we trying to go. You know what I'm saying?
I can put a smile on my face right now. I can put a smile on my face in the future.
Right.
But I can't put a smile on my face right now. I'm not going to be able to put a smile on my face in the future because it just doesn't come from it.
All right, next question. What do you want others who are struggling with mental health to know about recovery and healing?
It all takes time.
I would say, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to be mature because it's a lot of folk out there that like to play. I remember when I was in school, I used to play around a lot and make fun of whoever raised their hand and try to answer the right questions. And I don't find that funny no more because you're gonna have to raise your hand for somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't take it for granted that I found out a way to really overcome that situation. And I just say, don't be ashamed. And it's hard being stuck in your comfort zone and you're around your friends, but you thinking that you want to raise your hand to answer the right question. And when you answer the question, it ain't going to be answered right because you're going to try to play it off right after you answer the question. So I never been the type of person that really cared about anybody. It's just like whenever I got interrupted, it was on and popping. It was a fight then, so I just say don't be ashamed of to step out of your comfort zone or whatever. So that's mine.
Yeah, and I would also say don't be ashamed to step out of your comfort zone. And with that being said, don't be afraid to ask for help because that's the biggest thing that causes people to lose it with their mental health is they don't ask for help. You have to ask for help.
Just a couple of questions for reflection. How do you feel when you hear others talk about mental health? Does it resonate with your own experiences?
Does it resonate with my own experience? Yeah, I could relate to anybody that's been through a mental health situation and that's looking for advice. Yeah, it most definitely I most definitely can relate to it.
Yes, in a sense that everything that someone says about mental health whenever they're talking to me about it does resonate with something that I'm trying to relate myself to. And with that being said, it's how I create empathy. And whenever you're talking to somebody about mental health and socializing with them, for me at least, it's always like, yeah, I can relate to something in those situations. I can not necessarily say, oh, I've been through that exact same thing, but I can say, hey, there's something in the lines of what you're going through that I have similarly went through in my life, just enough because I've been on this earth long enough to be able to say that I've went through a little bit of everything. And it's not always going to be that way, but 9 times out of 10, I can say that I can relate.
What role do you think vulnerability plays in mental health healing or growth?
Healing. I most definitely think it's healing because being vulnerable is is it's a process of um, compassion and care. You gotta care, and you gotta be vulnerable for the by your past, like from your past.
Um, let's say this piece of paper. Let's say I'm this piece. I'll say that this is me. And this piece of paper is the sickness and the mental health issues that I've been in. This is where I'm trying to get towards it. This is the help. This is the help. I have a little area of unknown to get there. This is that vulnerability. You have to step out of your comfort zone to be able to get what you need in life. And that's where the vulnerability takes place. So that's the importance of it.
It's good.